In an earlier video, I spoke about how with social business and social entrepreneurship, there's a limit to how much money you can make. But that limit is like beyond what any human should ever have to worry about. That's the kind of thing where like you'd be building pyramids for yourself, being a billionaire of billionaires, in the top 1% of the world. That's hard to get to without, stepping on some people and paying them bad and not giving out benefits. Bill Gates didn't become the philanthropist he is today and the billionaire he is today by paying everyone exceptionally well and a proportional wage as his company grew. It's by paying himself like 1,000, 10,000 times the lowest person. That's how it's done. And also having a mother who works at IBM who gets a sweetheart deal for him, The thing is, with social business and social entrepreneurship, you can still make millions. You can still make a good living. Millions is far beyond that, but what is it? They say for the average person, like which science shows is what, to like $80,000 a year or something, around there. That's what you need to get all your basic needs met, to be able to travel sometimes, to be able to live pretty well, be able to put your kids in good schools, and eat well. And that's where like the happiness return on money, they have somewhat diminishing returns after that. And so you don't have to worry about that. You can live well and help people. You can keep your soul and make money and actually make an impact with your business. There's not a trade-off. You can do both. There's no limitation on that. It's just people talk about it because they always refer to themselves as hypothetically being in the 1% one day, as if one day they'll be the billionaire of billionaires. It's ridiculous. Like saying that as a standard for how you do a business or run a society is insane. Societies are most fair when you don't know where you'll be in the hierarchy. If you might be the janitor or the CEO, that's when you're gonna make all the rules work. When you assume you're gonna be a billionaire, you can accept like the most inhumane systems imaginable because you're not gonna be that person. You just assume you're the top, which is ridiculous. It doesn't work morally, it doesn't work statistically, it doesn't work scientifically, it doesn't work in any kind of successful business in the long term that helps people. So don't worry about these compromises people assume you have to make in a society where it's either profit or people, one or the other. You can do both. And that's becoming more apparent as things rise up, projects that help both people and profit. Some of the largest phone companies in developing countries are those at low cost that have huge return on value to both their investors and the people using them. They have faster data and better services than some in the West that cost 5 to 10 to 12 times more. It's not an equal return on each investment, and every piece of technology is not equal. There's great tech in countries that are developing, and you see this in the cell phone market. Banking in the West is very traditional. If you don't have collateral, you're left out. There's enormous percentages of the population that don't have banking or bank accounts. And when they start a business, they don't have money to get it going. It's a huge problem. And some of the most interesting businesses on that matter are in Africa, either regards to remittances coming back into the country, which is when a foreign worker sends money home, or which can be massive and transformational for countries and their economies. And making that not at a rip-off rate is a huge opportunity. Of course, big banks are in it now. But, or mobile banking, where you can use your mobile phone to transfer funds to each other and to use it instead of having a wallet or a bank. That stuff in Kenya is booming. It's been for like years now. It's an established science with a lot of data on it. And not always in English, but a lot of great data. And some of the most innovative businesses out there are those serving those with the most need. And anyone can tell you in a good business, the most important thing is to serve a need. And most of the wealthy businesses only want to work with wealthy people or middle class people in a wealthy nation. That leaves out the vast majority of the planet. And if you want to do good, simply work with those people, serve their needs, and you can make a healthy profit, reinvest it, and get a good salary. So do you know a problem in your community? Do you know dozens and dozens of problems? Well, those are all potential business opportunities, because that's what an entrepreneur does. They solve problems. That's the fundamental idea. And a lot of people are just trying to do a quick buck. or try to solve an easy problem. And sometimes that's a good idea when you're starting out, not the easy buck, but the quick solution. When you're starting up your career, you're 16, 18, just trying to get your foot in the water, you know, you don't want to pick the biggest problem because you want to be able to get results. And those results help motivate you and keep you going. But for most people who have a bit of experience, a bit of expertise, a bit of education, just go for the big stuff. Like, because that's actually the area least served. A lot of big businesses serve basic, simple needs, which is great, but they neglect larger problems because they have more regulatory setbacks, more red tape. They're harder to navigate. They have to work and share with other people and other companies, their competitors, data and skills. If you're open to working with others and you're willing to take on big problems, there's a huge, huge market, especially in countries which you need it most. In countries that are developing or undeveloped. You know, you can just take technologies that already exist and re-implement them into countries like Laos. China did a lot of this. Like, a lot of the major companies in China are just American companies or European companies that have been slightly altered and renamed. And yet they've boomed, and it's been a huge, huge thing for Jack Ma. So it's possible.